Hey, beautiful people. Listen, your view of healthcare will change when you've experienced healthcare system like the healthcare system here in Thailand. And I'll say this first before I get into this video. I'm not here to sell you on moving to Thailand. What I am definitely here to encourage you to do, though, especially if you're a Black woman, you look like me, you're Black, you're brown, is to leave the US. The US is a mess. Like, we already know this. I don't have to even put any emphasis or anything like that. Like, even if you don't watch the news, I'm not somebody who, I don't turn the news on to watch the news because the news is basically bad news, right? They highlight the bad news, and I don't want to feed my mind and thoughts with that kind of stuff every day. But things are so bad in the US that you can't necessarily run away from it. Like, if you have Google on your phone, things pop up. If you use social media at all, things pop up. If you use YouTube, any type of search engines, things pop up. You see the headlines, you see the thumbnails. You don't have to dig for it. You don't have to search for it. And so, yeah, I don't have to stress that enough, that if you can leave, leave. And this is not what this video was supposed to be about. This video is really to come out here to share the highlight of my day today, the appointment that I had. I had my prenatal appointments. If some of you have been following me, I should say, you may know that we are expecting baby number 2 while we're living abroad, while we're living here in Thailand. And so, we are doing prenatal appointments and different things like that. And I just had a highlight today that I really want to share with you guys because I'm like, OMG, like, this is mind blowing. But before I get to that, yeah, I had to start there. I had to start there. Like, y'all need to leave the US. Like, seriously, truthfully, it's one thing if it was just one thing, like, okay, if it was just cost of living, or if it was just extreme politics, or if it was just, okay, the healthcare system is bad. Like, it's everything. Everything is bad. The healthcare system is bad. It's also not affordable for most people, the average person. The US is a capitalistic economy, right? Everything is about profit. Everything is about how can we make money, not how can we heal the people, not how can we lead them to a more holistic lifestyle, but it's how can we make more money? How can we produce more, in the big pharma space hack? How can we produce more pharmaceuticals? Medicine has its place. I believe that medicine has its place. As someone who loves herbs, I believe in the power of herbs. I believe in the power of plants and, plant-based medicine and things like that. I do believe that pharmaceutical medicine also has its place too, especially in like certain life and death situations. But in the US, like, you have high blood pressure, I don't know, there's no conversation around how can you really naturally heal yourself with plants. Okay. You have to really go out there and seek that yourself. Okay. That's another topic. That's getting into something else. I know this is not a scripted video or anything like that. I don't even have notes. I just did a training. That's why I'm a little bit dressed up today, by the way. I didn't go to the doctor's office looking at this. I would though. I would. But I just got off a training. I have a remote money lender training where I teach my community how to, start their own loan businesses and different things like that, and be able to run it from anywhere in the world without lending your own money, partnering with the right lenders, without a fancy finance degree. Quick plug. So if you're somebody who's looking for an extra sustainable stream of income that you can do from anywhere you want to move abroad, you should definitely check out the link below. I've never done this before. I opened up exclusive access. You'll have access to the replay. I just did the training today. We also had a partnering lender that came into the community yesterday that break down how payouts are structured, how you get paid when you partner with them, and how you can get your clients funded, even up to 250,000 in funding, right, for businesses who do not even have revenue, who don't have tax return. This is real. I partner with them. I've had uh, clients get qualified for funding through that program, that syndicated program as well. So If you're looking for something different, something structured, something that is somewhat recession resistant, okay, because business funding is one of those slept on industries. It's a $1.4 trillion industry that most people don't know about it. It works in the, behind the scenes. And so, if you want something that you can do to help you earn additional income, you should definitely check out the training, especially the one that I did live earlier today. You will have access to the replay only for 7 days in the community. And beyond that, when you watch the training, you will learn more about how you can accelerate your journey to launching your own loan business. All right, that was a quick little plug. But back to what I was saying, right? The US has this capitalistic system. Everything is about, how can we make more money? The US itself is a corporation. It is a business. And it's not designed for families to really thrive. It's not designed for people that look like me to thrive. You can thrive, okay? I don't blame any system on like my success necessarily. However, what I am saying is that how the system is designed is to keep a certain type of people, to keep minorities in a certain box, right? Until you travel, until you have traveled, until you have left the US, you will realize that, oh my gosh, like there is so much more to life than the hustle and the bustle and the grind and the high insurance and the high car payment and the high mortgage payment and the high this and the high that. I don't care how successful you are as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. It's like there's only so much like fulfillment that you get, at least in my opinion. I personally know millionaires. I'm not a millionaire as yet, but I've made six figures in my business and things like that. And I just feel like there is a limit to the amount of like fulfillment that you feel in the US and level of peace. Now, I do believe that peace is something that you really truly find from within, and you don't necessarily find it when you go somewhere else, or you should not necessarily look for peace really outside of yourself. You should really find peace from within first. But environment matters. Environment is the difference between you waking up feeling anxious and feeling chaotic and just not feeling peaceful, okay? It's the difference between that and feeling more peaceful, having a nervous system that is calmer, right? Environment matters. But of course, you want to initially find peace within yourself. Now, I know I'm going all over the place, all off topic. I have too much to say. It's just my brain, my ADHD brain, you guys. I have so much to say. But before I get into what I really came on here to talk about, which is my experience today, I want to encourage you to figure out a way that you can leave the US, whether you have children, whether you have dependents, you have people that you're caring for, whatever that is. Try to figure out a short-term plan of how you are going to leave. When you leave the US long enough, your life will never be the same. I promise you. I promise you. And this is not just for people who don't have any money or don't make any money. There are millionaires, like I said, that I know personally. There are billionaires who choose to leave the US. Okay. It is something about the quality of life that money, not even money, can buy you in the US. Like, let that land. The reason why millionaires, multimillionaires, people who earn multiple six figures per year leave the US is not just because of cost of living. Sure, cost of living is one thing for sure. It is ridiculous, but it is these quality of living that you cannot get in the US. It does not matter how much money you are paying. Anyway, leave the US. But anyway, today, my experience, okay? Oh my gosh, that was 11 minutes in. So you guys, quick backstory. When I moved to Thailand, we already knew that we were planning on expanding our family, right? I was not sure where we were going to be by the time we decided to have another baby, right? But one of the things that I knew was I really wanted a holistic, natural birth experience like the first one that I had while we were still living in the US. I opted to have a non-hospital birth. Okay, in the US, as you know, the maternal rate, the death maternal rate in the US for a Black woman is ridiculous. And I was like, I don't want to. I trust God. I trust God. Believe you me, I trust God. But I'm just like, I don't want to really be a part of that system. I want to have a peaceful birth. I don't want nurses running in 24/7. I don't want people not listening to me. I did not want to experience that. I wanted to have a supernatural, peaceful, calm birth. I wanted to be able to set the tone as much as possible, right? In a private space, in a private environment. That's what I wanted. And so I opted to not have a hospital birth. And you guys, it was one of the most beautiful things. I am so happy that I did not have a hospital birth because I had a precipitous birth, which meant that I had a very fast birth. Okay. By the grace of God, thanks be to God. I did not even realize that I was in labor. That's how good God was to me. Okay. And, my baby just came. And if I decided to give birth at a hospital, I feel like my experience would have been crazy because they would probably be looking at me like, you don't look like you're a neighbor. So we're going to take your information, check you in, get your information, ask you 1,000 questions, even though you have been here before 1,000 times. We have all your information, but we still need to ask you 1,000 questions while you are actively in labor. And I probably would have given birth right then and there, that lady that was all over TikTok, right? Who that nurse, she was so nonchalant, had no empathy. And that lady basically gave birth right there in the triage or wherever, asking the lady the same question like 10,000 times. I'm just like, how many times are you going to ask the lady if she has children? The lady's literally in active labor. She had to stand up. She's like, the baby is coming. The nurse was just on her laptop. You've probably seen that TikTok video. And she asked her a series of questions, but one of the things that she asked her like 3 times was, do you have any children at home or something like that? She was like, yes, I have 1, or this is my 3rd, or I have 2 at home. And she was like, the nurse asked her again and said, you have 2 children at home, so you have 3 children. It was like she asked her the same question like 3 times. I kid you not. You really need to watch that video. And I'm like, how cruel. This lady is in active labor. We can't do all of that like after or so, like something. Anyway, I saw that video like 2 years after I gave birth. This happened just like a few months ago. And I'm just like, it just confirmed why I did not want to give birth in a hospital. And I had it was a, what do you call it? It was a birth center birth, right? So I labored pretty much at home for like an hour. I almost pushed my baby out there and I really had to hold it until we got to the birth center. And then as soon as I got to the birth center, I gave birth there. It was very, very quick. As a first-time mom, that was really quick, a quick labor process. I'm happy that I did not give birth at a hospital because you pull up to the hospital, you have to figure out parking, then you have to go up to this place, you have to check in, you have to do all of that. I did not have time for all of that, you guys. I promise you. Within 8 minutes of getting to the birth center, I literally felt like I was going to give birth in the car. Within 8 minutes of getting there, which a birth center, what that is, it's basically a private, it's almost like a home setting. So this birth center was in Dallas. It's like a home, the bathtub, the bathroom, the living room area. It's like a home, and it was very private. So we were the only ones there. That's how a birth center is set up. It's not like your traditional hospital. And it's run usually by like midwives, right? Who practice like natural births and different things like that. That's what I wanted. So we just had our doula there, midwives. I had my birth photographer there and videographer, and that was it. That's what I wanted. And as soon as we pulled up and we went in there, within 8 minutes, I gave birth, right? And the truth is, you guys, I was already seeing an OB. Okay, so I was initially, when we found out that we were pregnant, we were seeing an OB, regular OB. I found a Black doctor, mixed doctor. I was like, okay, I feel a little bit comfortable with this. And then eventually I found out that, you guys, she was pregnant too, like literally 5 weeks ahead of me or something like that. And I'm like, I know when it's time for me to give birth, you are not going to be here. And so anyway, I just felt this strong instinct that I should just go the natural holistic route. I'm so happy that I followed that. And so that was a quick backstory to share my thought process with living in Thailand, finding out that we're pregnant, and deciding what we're going to do. Okay. I wanted to have another holistic experience like that, another natural experience like that, like a non-hospital birth. Okay. But after doing thorough research, there's nowhere that shows that where you can hire like midwives, like Thai midwives. So since they have built infrastructure here in Thailand to support births, right? They have built phenomenal medical infrastructure. It's like they don't really do that type of thing here anymore. Way back in the day, before all this infrastructure and things like that, people did home births, but not necessarily anymore. So for the life of me, I could not find a midwife. I have seen a couple of like expat midwives, maybe from Australia or something like that, but that's not what I was looking for. But anyway, the closest that I was able to go to finding a midwife or to finding a doctor that specializes in natural or like water births, right, was, in Bangkok here, I was able to find a doctor who specializes in natural births and water births, right? And expat births. And I was like, okay. And so I started seeing her. And the first time I went into her office, oh my gosh, she had like hundreds, dozens of just pictures of babies that she delivered and families all over her office. I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen it. I'm like, wow, she is truly passionate about what she does. She has been practicing for years, and she said that she has delivered so many babies. I think it's thousands, if I'm not mistaken. She's a little bit older, and she's been doing it for a long time. Since she was young, right? And so I felt confident and comfortable with that, since she specializes in natural births. And so I found out that she's one of the few doctors, okay, or one of the only actually in Thailand that does natural water births. And so anyway, we were going, visiting her and doing our checkups with her and all of that. And we were able to tour one of the regular birth rooms. But after that, every time we wanted to tour the natural birth room, because it's separate. The natural birth room, natural water birth room, is completely separate from the standard birth rooms. But every time we wanted to see the natural birth rooms, it was always booked. And so today, we're like, oh, we almost left too, right? Hubby had to do blood work because there's some point at pregnancy that they have your partner also do blood work. Anyway, that's TMI. And we were going to leave after that. And my husband was like, oh, we should ask to see if we can see the birth room again. And so I was like, Lord, please, I hope it's available. And it was. I'm actually going to put a clip here. Okay. I'm going to put a clip here of like what that birth room looks like. I was blown away. I was like, wow, I don't even see this in birth centers. I was like, OMG. It's like having a birth center experience, a natural birth center experience at a prestigious hospital. I was like, I'll take this. Because I promise you guys, in the US, I'm just like anti-hospital when it comes to birthing for me personally, right? Unless it is an emergency, right? Obviously, you can't, escape that. But if I can help it, I'm all for non-hospital births. And so I was kind of very hesitant. So that was my dilemma with being here. And so, you guys, let me just put the clip here. I am so excited. I was so excited, you guys. I had the nurses cracking up. I was cracking up myself. Oh my gosh, they had this ladder. And I was like, where does that ladder lead to? At first, I was thinking it was like an escape emergency ladder. But I'm like, why would an escape emergency ladder be in a birth room? And there was like, it led to nothing. It was just a ceiling. And so the nurse was showing me how you use it. They designed the birth room in a way where it allows you to have your own ebb and flow, to just flow. You're not just laying on the bed, okay? Because naturally, that's not how women labor. Let's be real. Like, you want to move around and just be in positions that's comfortable for you. They had a birthing chair. You guys, I have to put the clip because y'all won't even believe me. They had the bathtub there, of course. They had the birthing balls. They had this thing hanging from the ceiling that you can hold on to and like push and stuff. They had a squatting chair if you want to give birth that way. I'm like, oh my goodness, they have thought of everything. The room was prestigious and clean, had a nice fridge in there. The bathroom was nice and clean. You had to, before you even got to that area, right, the natural birth area, you had to take your shoes off and put on uh, their slippers that they give you basically. And so they are so, when I tell you, clean, clean. And it was just a phenomenal experience because all of the nurses and the staff there, they were just so happy for me and they were just so kind. They were so kind, you guys, and you can tell how genuine they were. The lady even offered to hold my phone because she realized that I really wanted to record the experience. And she's like, "Oh, I hold it," and she was just holding my phone for me. And even though my husband was there, I'm happy she had the phone because you know how men are. Oh my gosh, they can't get a good angle. Oh my goodness. And so she was doing all the angles and stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I was mind blown, you guys. I have never seen a birth room that looked like that. Now, mind you, I've never given birth at a hospital, but you see it in videos, right? People show hospital rooms giving birth all the time. You see it in videos. And it's when I tell you, it is nothing like that, right? Birth centers, right? That I love, even for birth centers, right? I've never really seen that. When I was looking for a birth center, I did a lot of research and I've never even seen that. So to see it here at like a hospital type of setup was just really incredible to me. And it was literally the highlight of my day because I'm like, thank you, Lord, because I was just like, oh my gosh, I really want a natural holistic experience. And even though I still would prefer to be like in a sacred space, but you know what? I'm like, hey, this is Thailand. Look, if I can have the best of both worlds, a birth center type of natural experience, but also be in a hospital. Also, that birth room, the natural birth room is kind of like separate. It's still within the hospital, but it seems like it's just in a separate private area where not a lot of people, there's not a lot of traffic. Not a lot of people are walking there. It's just a secluded area. And I thank God for that experience because it gave me a little bit more peace of mind and ease that it's going to be okay. Like, even if you don't have a home birth, okay, or a birth center birth, you can still have a beautiful natural birth at a hospital. So I just had to share that with you guys. I love how God works. And also, when we were leaving, she gave me a uh, a card for yoga classes. They offer yoga classes as well. They have a calendar every year, so you know in advance when these yoga classes will be every single month. So I will be attending some of those yoga classes. It is free. Also, because I am giving birth there at that hospital, they do have a couple of birth classes, right, for you and your partner, learning the basics about baby stuff, changing diapers, things like that. I mean, we've done it before, but I will definitely go again just to kind of relearn. I think they go through like breastfeeding and different things like that, just to kind of relearn, right? It's been 2 years since we've done it. Not too long ago, but still, it's free. So why not? So, you guys, I just had to share that experience with you guys because it is just phenomenal. Like the level of detail, how they pay attention to detail here in Thailand, how clean they are, how forward thinking they are. It is mind blown. People will think of Thailand and think it's like a third world country. Babes, you gotta come here to see for yourself. Even the malls, like in the US, I guess back in the day, malls were a thing. And now nobody goes to the malls. Like, who goes to the malls in the US, really? Right? The malls here in Thailand, it is an experience. Okay. It is an experience from like boutique markets, from wine cellars to all types of different food and shopping. And The list goes on. It is an experience. The malls here, and they're all so different, which is what I love. In the US, the malls are almost all the same. It's like the same thing. You go to this corner, turn the corner, you go upstairs, the food court, you have an Annie's, I don't know, maybe a Popeyes, pizza, maybe some Asian food or something like that. And, that's just it. That's just it. The malls here, you can fine dine. You have different types of restaurants. Every mall is different. Every mall gives you a different type of experience. You can have a high quality meal, like a sit down type of meal in a sit down restaurant, not just in a food court. You can get the food court experience too, which we love because the food also is so good and so affordable as well. We did that after we left the hospital. So you get what you want here. Okay. And it's just so amazing. I just love how forward thinking they are. I don't know how they do it in regards to the efficiency and what seems like it should be chaotic. It's just not. It's very organized. It's very organized, clean, and I just love it. Now, Thailand is not perfect, especially Bangkok. We live in Bangkok, Thailand, and it is not perfect, right? I can go down the list of the things that are wrong, and I have shared other videos with the things that I don't like with living in Bangkok. But in general, I will take this over life in the US right now, any day. So I don't want this video to be too long-winded, but I just had to share that experience. And by the way, when we pulled up, they valeted our car. Like, who does that at the hospital? Okay. They valeted our car. We just pulled up, got out. They went, took our car somewhere. And that was that. That was that. I have been to the hospital here since living in Thailand. So this is the most that I have ever been to the hospital, honestly. I don't know if it's because we have a child, okay? I'm a very healthy person. I don't have any type of issues, blood pressure, and nothing. Nothing. I just have no type of issues. I don't take medication, but yet still I've been to the hospital so many times. I don't know if it's because I don't know if because of the ease of going to the hospital and it doesn't necessarily feel dreadful. Even the hospitals here are an experience. Sometimes you have people playing the grand piano in the middle of the hospital. Like, what? What is going on here? You know what I mean? It is just amazing. But yeah, we do have a child, so sometimes we have him do his checkups and different things like that, and maybe we think something's wrong with his ear or something like that. We're taking him, so I think that kind of also adds up to the amount of times we've been to the hospital, and then now with doing my prenatal visits and different things like that, and it's not dreadful, you guys. It's not dreadful. I don't have to pay for parking like I used to have to do when I initially was seeing an OB in the US. I literally had to pay for parking to go see my OB who I was still going to pay to see. I had to pay for parking. Maybe it was where it was located in Dallas. I don't know, but I shouldn't have to pay for parking. At first I thought I would be able to have it validated or something, but nope, I had to pay for parking for all my prenatal visits, which was ridiculous. Now I'm getting free valet parking. Like, excuse me? I will take it all day, every day. Anyway, I really had to share that highlight of my day today about, the touring of the birth center and just feeling more peaceful, feeling more aligned, and just feeling more excited about giving birth here. People ask me, "Are you excited?" And I'm just like, I don't know, not really. Not like the first birth. The first birth that's different. It's your first pregnancy and stuff like that. Maybe because I've done it before, I'm not really that excited. But today, you guys, I got really, really excited. I think one of the reasons too why I was not really that excited was because just my concerns with what if I have a precipitous birth again? Bangkok has a lot of traffic. We want to make sure that we get to the hospital on time. I really don't want a standard hospital experience. I want my doula and my midwives to be there, but I don't have that anymore. So I'm thinking about a lot of those things, right? About what I want my birth to be, but what I can't necessarily have realistically in Bangkok unless I change locations, which it's not necessarily something that we want to do. It does not make sense to do it. So yeah, I'm thankful for that experience today with seeing that natural birth center. It's like the best of both worlds, babes. I'm like, I get to be in a birth center, in a hospital. That's the best of both worlds. Anyway, beautiful people, if you want to continue to follow my journey with living abroad, especially as I plan to give birth here in Thailand, right, while I'm living abroad with my family, be sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Be blessed. Bye.